Today we're eating at Nanjing Dapai Dang, or Nanjing Impressions. Come on! Dapai Dang in Chinese is really talking about food stalls, but since that doesn't really sound as great in English, they call it Nanjing Impressions. And this restaurant is really great for collecting all of the street food and the various cuisines of Nanjing. So in Nanjing, the way that people eat is typically in front of these various different food stalls. And each stall serves something completely different. But now they turn this into like a restaurant, almost kind of like a theme park. So you just sit at your table and order everything. So take a look around. So we really love the way that they decorate this place. As you can see, the lighting's really great. They've got these lanterns all over the place. So one of the really fun things about eating here is that all of this food is cooked in an open kitchen. So you can kind of see what's going on and how they're preparing their food and where all this food comes from. What this gentleman is doing right here is, it seems like he's making some really delicious noodles. What's also great about Nanjing Impressions is that all of their dishes come in these very small portion sizes, and there's a lot of variety. And what that means is it's a great fit for maybe like a party of 2 to 3 to come in and try all of the delicious things that actually change season by season. So we're now in fall, and this is the fall month. It actually says fall right here. And all of these dishes are super seasonal, and I just can't wait to see what they have in store, not only for fall, but for winter as well. Today we are here to try out their fall 2-person set menu. Really excited. Let's go. So we're gonna start from this delicious looking dish. It's a Calamari salad. You guys have probably never heard or seen calamaris, but it's actually a wild vegetable, a wild plant that grows mostly in southern China, in the Jiangnan area. And its Chinese name is called malantou. So this salad is actually a cold salad, and it's got a mixture of calamaris, which is chopped. It's got dried tofu and also a really delicious looking pine nuts. So I'm going to put this in a spoon because it's easier to eat that way. They put a little bit of oil in it, I can tell. A little bit of salt. What I really like about it is the crispiness of the calamaris with the crunchiness of the pine nuts. And it really creates this very dynamic sort of feeling when you bite down. Very, very good. Let's try some more. In China, there are 2 kinds of really famous duck. The first is Peking duck, which probably a lot of you guys know. But what you might not know is the second kind, which is Jinling Duck. And Jinling Duck is this right here. The Jinling is actually what Nanjing used to be called. So here we are. It's really good. It's kind of lightly salty, and there's a little bit of sweetness in the skin. And the skin, although it's sort of been immersed in the sauce, is still very crispy. The overall flavor is just a little bit salty. So do you guys know the major differences between Peking duck and Jinling duck? I used to not know, but I do now. I'm going to share with you 3 major differences. The first difference is the type of duck meat that they use. So Peking duck likes to use very fatty duck with very thick skin, but in Jinling duck, you can see that the skin is actually just very thin, and most of it is just the meat. The second difference is that while Peking duck is served mostly dry, it's roasted and very crispy, Jinling duck is usually served in sort of like a sauce. So after they roast it, they pour a layer of sauce on top, and that's where you get most of the flavor from. So you don't need any additional sauces. So also, Peking duck, the duck is actually roasted and it's served to you dry and very crispy. Whereas Jinling duck is roasted first, so you still have the crispy skin, but it's immersed in this very tasty and savory sauce, and it's served just like this. Also, Jinling duck can be served hot or cold. It's actually usually served cold, but today they chose to serve it hot for us. But Peking duck is almost always served fresh out of the oven. And thirdly is how you actually eat the duck. So Jinling duck is served with bone and all kind of cut up in these pieces on top of the sauce. Whereas Peking duck, as many of you know, is served to you sort of meat only or skin only, along with a bunch of condiments and vegetables. And you basically wrap them in these little pancakes and you eat it sort of like a really tiny burrito.
Do you prefer Peking duck or Jinling duck?
I like the whole DIY part of it. It's actually really fun. And also like the fact that, you know, every time you make a different wrap, you can put different types of things in it, so it adds a lot of variety. And I also like the crispiness of the duck itself. So if I had to put it side by side, I would definitely choose Peking duck, but this is also very, very good. So if you haven't tried it, do yourself a favor and try it out. It's very tasty. Okay, so this one looks really simple, but it's actually really, really tasty. And it's called Jizhi Beilugan. So what this is a bowl of chicken stock plus bean sprouts and some fried tofu. And this tofu is really great because it actually soaks up all of the chicken juices, and it just smells really good. So I'm gonna take a bite of this. Mmm. Wow. So when you bite into it, the juices that it absorbs just explode into your mouth, and it just tastes so great. Very, very savory, and just the right amount of saltiness. I really love it. You guys know what Peter Piper likes? It's got to be pickled pepper chicken. So this is a really good looking dish. Not only is the food good looking, but also the pot that it comes in, just take a look at the side. And it's got this really traditional Chinese pattern, and I love it. It just looks fantastic. This chicken is roasted first, so it's got a really crispy skin. And it sits in this sweet vinegary sauce with some alcohol. And on the top, it looks like salsa, but it's actually chopped pickled peppers and a little bit of dried green onions. I'm gonna take a piece from the bottom here and show you what it's like. And you can see that the skin is really, really crispy, and all of the meat here is just dripping with this sweet vinegary juice. And I'm gonna try a little piece of it. So when you're eating chicken in China, you have to really be careful because a lot of times they'll leave the bone in, and when they chop it, it splinters into pieces. So make sure that you chew and you don't hurt yourself. But as long as you're careful, this is really, really delicious. One of the things I really love is that because the skin is crunchy and it's got this texture, it's able to hold on to a lot of the sweet vinegary sauce. And so when you bite into it, it's got this really kind of crunchy yet sweet flavor, and it smells really good too. What I really love about eating in China is the fact that they light a lot of their food on fire, which is fantastic. So this is a personal hot pot. It's a brisket vermicelli pot, 牛腩粉丝火锅. And it actually comes in this clay pot with this really nice little burner on the bottom. And as you can see, you know, the food is actually just boiling in front of my eyes. And so what they've got in here are these really nice juice-soaked vermicelli noodles, which look fantastic. And also these really big pieces of beef brisket, which looks so yummy. I'm gonna take a big bite of it. I can tell that they've been cooking this for a while because the beef has soaked in all the flavor from the soup. So every little bite, every little chew, it's just so flavorful. So I'm gonna take a little sip of the soup here. It is kind of spicy. It definitely is a soy sauce base, but it has lots of these very, very tasty Chinese traditional spices inside as well to give that little kick. You know, I actually wish I had a little bit of rice with this. It would really go very perfect with this soup. So it's now time for another one of my favorite dishes, which is shrimp tofu. There is obviously really nice pieces of shrimp in here, but there's also salty duck eggs, which I really love, and also obviously tofu. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this, put it on my own spoon there with some of these really big pieces of shrimp. I have to be honest, it's not the best shrimp tofu that I've ever had, but it's still quite darn good. Okay, so we gotta eat this while it's hot. So this is called duanzi. So this is actually little tiny river shrimp mixed with radish as well as egg, and they fry it into this really cool cup shape. And I'm gonna take a bite. It looks really delicious. Oh, This is really good. You can really taste the combination of the shrimp and the radish kind of mixing with each other. And the egg is kind of there to keep everything harmonious, but it just smells really great. And it's crunchy. So our beverage of the day is plum juice. So plum juice is really, really popular in China, and it's available in almost every restaurant. And it's super, super popular in the summer. It's no longer summer, but you know, still gotta drink it. Delicious. And we're finally at today's dessert. The Chinese name of this dessert is Tang Yu Miao. So what this is actually like a jelly that's made from lotus root powder. There are little specks of osmanthus flour, which is kind of what the little bits and pieces are. In addition to that, the color is from brown sugar. So there is definitely a lot of very, very great sweetness to it. And inside, you will also find pieces of taro. And this is my wife's favorite dessert, and we order this every single time. And this dessert is super, super popular in Nanjing, where this restaurant is from. So I'm gonna take a little taste of this. Just a perfect bow on a perfect meal. And I'm gonna give the rest of this to my wife.